All right, let's skip the fluff. It's April 2026, and the future of AI threats just became our daily reality. If you're still managing your security program with weekly meetings and manual spreadsheets, you aren't just slow, you are effectively underdefended because frontier AI models have officially crushed the timeline between a vulnerability being found and a working exploit being launched. We're seeing bugs that sat unnoticed for decades being channeled and chained into exploits in just a few hours for the cost of only a few dollars. So if you want to know how to move at the speed of an AI attacker, you're in the right place. If you're new here, welcome to the frontier. This is the CyberSec Migrant. It's the bridge between trying to get in and leading the pack in this AI accelerated era. Whether you're an immigrant, a career switcher, or an enterprise pro, we're here to help you build a future-proof career by mastering the fundamentals that most people ignore. To my regulars, welcome back to the Inner Circle. You know the deal. Every month, we're leveling up through the podcast where we deep dive security strategy with industry titans, the lounge where we have unfiltered broader tech career discussions, and various other material we provide where we do hands-on security reviews, career blueprints, and everything you need to keep you ahead of the curve. I'm Femi, speaker, advocate, and your guide through the noise. When I'm not on this mic or keynoting at industry events, then I'm right here with you, breaking down the tactics that actually work. So if you're ready to protect your future and your privacy, hit subscribe, dive into the playlist, and share this with one person who needs to hear it. All right, let's get into today's deep dive. The first thing you have to accept is that the patch gap is now a suicide mission. Attackers are now using AI to reverse engineer our patches the second they drop. Now we've got a 24-hour rule. For internet-facing applications, you should aim to patch within 24 hours of an exploit becoming available. And also, you have to prioritize with KV and EPSS. Treat anything, anything, that's on the CISA known exploited vulnerabilities, the KEV, if it's on that list, is an emergency. So use the exploit prediction scoring system, EPSS, to manage the rest of your queue. And obviously, most importantly, kill the manual steps. Delay is now your primary risk. So automate patch deployment and reboots wherever the risk of an outage is lower than the risk of a breach. And because that's the problem we're facing these days with frontier AI becoming the new frontier of things happening. Because over the next 2 years, we are going to see a huge jump in the volume of vulnerability reports. The things you receive are going to explode. And honestly, I don't think we can hire enough humans to triage this. We just can't. So we're going to have to leverage AI, just like the bad guys are leveraging AI. So we can start with AI triage agents. So you need a model that's at the front of your alert queue. Because internal data shows that AI triage agents can actually investigate every alert, not just the high severity ones. So which is a good thing, because that way you don't miss anything when it comes through your alerts or your system. And of course, also, the metrics for success have to change. In real-world tests, we find that using AI for triage dropped dwell times for alerts by roughly 40%, which is really good. Which is really, really good, because then that means you can be a lot more efficient and a lot more effective when you triage your incidents. And of course, what does it do for your investigation speed? It makes your investigation speed so much better, because your median investigation time is going to be compressed from several hours to about 10 minutes or maybe less. Because that way you're able to get on the ball immediately, review all the information you need, and get to a conclusion pretty quickly, and having to manually do oversight and get somebody to look into it and all of that, which is where the risk really comes if you don't leverage AI to triage. And of course, importantly, deduplication. Use frontier models to deduplicate inbound findings and correlate them with your asset inventory, because that is really, really important. If you're doing that, then you're able to actually correlate findings, correlate assets, and be a lot more agile in the way you respond to any breach or any incident. Now, let's stop for a minute and talk about frontier AI models. What exactly are those? And Why do we have to pay attention to them? I think it's important. Why? Because recently there was something in the news about frontier AI, particularly around Claude Mythos or GPT-4, 5, all of that. So, and there's been so much news about frontier AI, and everyone's scared about AI becoming it's been the new frontier for a while. But specifically, we've been seeing, particularly with the rise of agentic AI, a growth in something called frontier AI. So what exactly is frontier AI? Frontier AI refers to the most advanced, cutting-edge AI models available, and they represent the current leading edge of capabilities, such as high-level reasoning, autonomous agents. Examples are like the Claude Mythos or GPT-4, and they are often used for vulnerability detection and enterprise settings for agentic workflows. Though, again, there's serious concerns about them due to the power that these models have. Just recently, in March 2026, so just last month, there was a threat around the CyberStrike AI that was used to execute a bunch of attacks. And that attack actually was against Fortinet FortiGate appliances. And this attacker leveraged an open source AI native security platform. And we found out that that platform was able to infiltrate over 600 appliances in 55 countries in a matter of hours, just using this tool. So it means with AI, it makes the attackers a lot more agile, a lot more efficient, a lot more effective. And if we're dealing with them in the traditional way, we are behind and we are only setting ourselves up to be breach. So we have to leverage AI for that. We have to engineer for the breach. You have to assume that AI is going to find a way in. There's no doubt about that. But what do we then do? Your goal as a defender, as a cyber defender, is to make that foothold useless. So friction-based security, like rate limits or non-standard ports, that degrades quickly against an adversary with unlimited patience. So what do we do then to make sure that we are rising above the challenges that they provide for us? The things we can do, such as, again, we can use a hardware-bound identity. So don't rely solely on passwords. Passwords are becoming gradually a thing of the past. Let's move to passkeys and FIDO2 tokens. Access should be tied to verified employee devices with attested hardware identity. So that way you can bind those identities to those hardwares, and anyone that does not match, then you ask a lot more questions, and that way you can protect access to your crown jewels. Also, what are we still do with long-lived secrets? Kill them all. We don't need long-lived secrets anymore. That's a big risk because stolen credentials alone should not be enough to gain access. So if we leave our secrets as long-lived secrets and somebody steals them, guess what? They use them against you tomorrow. So let's replace static API keys and shared passwords with short-lived, narrowly scoped tokens. Very narrowly scoped, very short-lived, so that even if it's stolen, they're useless to the person who steals them. And of course, time-tested and trusted micro-segmentation. Because a compromised build server should never be able to query your production databases. So let's isolate services by cryptographic identity and not just their network paths. Because again, this gives us a defensive advantage. Because let's face it, AI is here to stay and the attackers are using it. So we as defenders have to use it as well. But on the plus side, it's not all doom and gloom. We can use these same models that the attackers use to hunt, even before the attackers do the same thing. What do I mean by that? How can we do that? There are things we can do. For example, we can give ourselves a defensive advantage by doing autonomous red teaming. So take an offensive AI agent of your own, point it at your own perimeter from the outside, and find forgotten hosts or misconfigured storage. That way you find them before the malicious actors find them, and we can then deal with them. Don't wait till they're found out by the malicious guys. Also, let's leverage AI-assisted rewrites. So start migrating high-risk C and C++ code to memory-safe languages like Rust or Go, because AI can now help port self-contained modules, changing the reviewer's job to validating the equivalence rather than writing it from scratch. And that takes a huge weight off of our shoulders. It makes us a lot more agile. It means we can iterate faster, means we can reach our conclusions quicker. And of course, let's leverage AI as an incident scribe. During a live incident, let a model take notes, let it capture artifacts, let it draft the postmortem. Because humans should be making the containment and disclosure calls, not wasting time on bootkeeping. Let's allow the AI to do the bootkeeping on all the lower level tasks so that we can free up our brains for the higher level tasks. The big takeaway really is winning in 2026 isn't about having the fanciest AI. Nope, that's not what it is. It is about having the strongest fundamentals. The organizations that are best positioned for this shift are the ones whose basics are so solid that AI scanning finds fewer bugs in the first place. And that's what we should aim to. Find the least amount of bugs in your architecture, in your network, in your environment, in your organization. Secure your build pipeline, shorten your response time, and for the love of uptime, get that patch window down to 24 hours or less. Because if you don't, somebody's going to breach you in the time it takes to say, do we have a vulnerability? I'm Femi, and this is the CyberStrike Migrant. Stay fast, stay secure, and I'll see you in the next one. And if you found this useful, share this with someone who might find it useful as well. And together, we can leverage AI to build the best versions of our environment and keep the whole world secure. This is Femi, signing out.